Madam Clerk, will you please read the verdict?
We, the jury, on the issues joined, find in favor of the plaintiff, Abigail Zwerner, and assess her damages at $10 million. The award interest beginning on June 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any requests from the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor.
Any requests from the defense?
That we schedule time for post-trial motions.
All right.
And
All
judgment may not be entered on the verdict today.
All right. So the court will withhold entry of a judgment order in the case. The court will further reserve all rulings and hearings on post-trial motions for a later date to be set by the parties. Anything else to take up at this time, Mr. Beniozen? Ms. Douglas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, your term expires tomorrow, so you are still admonished by the court that because you still are in term, that you are not to talk about any of the cases that you've heard during this term, but you do not need to call back. Thank you very much for your service. It is an important service to all of us, and I know it has been a difficult service, but one that is necessary for the resolution of disputes in this country that I am very proud that we get to exercise those rights. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are excused.
Please rise for the jury. You may be seated.
All right. The plaintiff and her attorneys are excused, as is the defendant and her attorney as well. You may follow, if you so desire, my bailiff.
So we would just like to share that this has been a good week for Abby to get to finally speak for the first time and be heard. So we're very happy with the fact that Abby's story got to be told. I remember just 3 years ago, almost to this date, hearing for the first time Abby's story and thinking that this could have been prevented. So now to hear from a jury of her peers that they agree that this tragedy could have been prevented. So we're very happy with the outcome for today, and we're happy that Abby's story got to be told.
What's the next step legally for the case? Are there post-trial motions scheduled, and then of course an appeal would be expected?
Yes, we'll be coming back for post-trial motions. We'll set that date sometime soon.
Teachers across the nation have been watching this trial unfold. What kind of message do you think this sends to them?
Well, I think it says that what happened at Richneck Elementary School that day was wrong and is not going to be tolerated. That safety has to be the first concern at schools. I think it's a great message.
What do you make about the larger deal here where somebody's being found liable that was not involved in the actual shooting itself here?
Yeah, ultimately, I think we have to acknowledge that there are multiple... Closer to the mic. I think we have to acknowledge within our civil justice system that accountability comes from anyone who contributed to the ultimate outcome. And some of these things are foreseeable, and if we can take the appropriate measures to prevent them, then we can save lives, and we can save lives from being harmed detrimentally forever. And so ultimately, it's for the jury to decide what's right. They decided what's right, and we're grateful for their time and their attention these last 2 weeks.
Is there any clarity on payment of the judgment? I know there was some questions surrounding this Virginia Risk Sharing Association, potentially terms impacted by any guilty finding of that in the criminal case set for trial November 17th. Is there any clarity at this point as to who will pay the judgment?
Let me say this, that there are post-trial motions, obviously, that are still pending. There is an insurance policy that's covered for the school board, and the defendant, Parker, is a named insured. You know, the teachers, and the one comment that I wanted to make about the teachers in America, because I think it's important to say, the comments that we received in my office, Diane's office, and Kevin's, overwhelmingly were teachers concerned about their safety in schools. And if this doesn't send a message to the schools of America that teacher safety and children's safety from weapons is too important to make it a second thought. It needs to be the most important thing that schools do, taking care of the teachers and safety of our students. And And if that means metal detectors, if that means something else, we can't let these kinds of school shootings, whether it's an individual case like this or the mass shootings that have destroyed America. School safety, teacher safety, children's safety is the most important thing. This verdict reminds people that you will be held accountable if you don't make that your first concern. So we're pleased with the jury understanding that.
How is Abby feeling about the size of the verdict?
Abby's pleased with the verdict, and we obviously need to make sure that when we address it post-trial motions, we'll see what the judge does and doesn't do. So we'd rather not talk about the amount. It's not important today, as in fact the justice part of this is. The money obviously means that this jury knew it was a serious injury to her.
How is she feeling about the verdict itself? The fact that it's not the money, but the fact that they decided.
She's smiling, her mother's smiling, and her sister's crying. I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, Abby's been waiting for a long time to be able to share her story, and so this is a good thing. It's been great that she's been able to share her story and have that closure.
Last one for you, Mr. Bright. I think you might know this. Is there any other previous gavel-to-gavel trial broadcast in the region's history, Hampton Roads, or what have you?
You say that because I have gray hair. I do not believe that there has been a court TV or gavel to gavel. There has been plenty of TV coverages on some very significant criminal cases, but this would be the very first civil case that's been televised that I know of in our region.
You finished one historic case and you guys are about to go into another one. Do you guys feel prepared for the next one?
Kevin Biniazin's always prepared. I'm going to go surfing.
Definitely be prepared.
Any other questions?
All right.
We'll be back again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the legal team for Abby Zwerner speaking there in front of the courthouse after a long trial, and obviously some relief from the legal team, and they indicated that there was happiness and relief from Abby Zwerner and her family as well. Now, we are going to go live. We have Emily Harrison with us from outside the courthouse. Emily, you've been covering this for weeks now. Can you just give us first thoughts, your initial reaction from yourself and from those in the courtroom, just anything notable that you saw or heard when this verdict was read?
Well, I think as we were waiting for this verdict to come down, essentially many people in that room were holding their breath from both sides. There was a sense of anxiety in that courtroom as the hours passed. This jury went in at roughly 9:15 to even start deliberating, and I think many people in that courtroom thought that it would be a little bit faster than what it was, but in the end they came out just a few minutes ago and delivered that libel verdict for $10 million for Abby Zwerner. Zwerner's attorneys coming out here and saying that they are pleased with the outcome, even though it's only a quarter of what they originally asked for. They say that this money and this judgment is about sending a message saying that school violence and that school threats need to be treated seriously, and that if warnings are ever brought to an administrator, they need to be taken as a credible threat as soon as they are first heard. Well, Abby Zwerner did not go and give an interview for herself following this. She was standing just to the side of her attorneys, and you could see the visible emotion on her face as well as their family as they stood all around her, really supporting her in that moment as her attorneys were talking. And again, just saying that they're not disappointed by this outcome. Meanwhile, Dr. Ebony Parker, while I did not see her come out of the courtroom, she disappeared very quickly from this. Parker's family, as soon as the verdict came down, came together as one and exited the courtroom immediately. There was no comments given about that. The defense attorneys as well, we have also not seen, but I doubt that they are still here at the courthouse at this time.
Yeah, and so could you speak more to the tension in the courtroom? It's been an emotional trial. It's been a long trial. To hear you say that right off the top of how much tension there was, a nervous energy in the air, can you speak any more to that feeling? And is it something you've experienced before in covering these types of cases?
Yeah, well, you'll remember that the jury went in to deliberate yesterday. Granted, it was very late. I think they went in at about 3 or 2 o'clock p.m., so they only had roughly 2 hours to deliberate. But in that time, I would say certainly on Zwerner's side, there was an air of easy confidence that thinking that they would come out with a verdict quite soon. That would have been very soon. That's not how this played out, and instead they were brought in and told the judge that they wanted to go home for the day. That was understandable, of course, and so they broke, and we came back this morning at 9:15. That same easy energy, I think, was found in the morning, but as the hours slowly but surely went by, you could feel almost the shift in that courtroom as Warner's side started getting a little bit more worried, and you could see a bit more smiles on Dr. Parker's side of the courtroom. Definitely an energy shift at the end, and then when that buzzer went off, every single person went running inside of the courtroom. There wasn't a seat to be had as so many people were anxiously waiting for the results of this verdict.
Yeah, and as we've gone through this trial over the last couple of weeks, I think we've been so focused on this specific incident. I mean, it happened in Hampton Roads, right in our viewing area. I think that all of us here have been so focused on that day at Richneck Elementary. But the question you asked the legal team, and a topic that they spent a lot of time discussing, is the bigger message that this sends. Has that been something that they've harped on throughout the trial, that this is a message to teachers all around America that your safety is paramount?
I think they're saying it more as it should be fact, that was their entire legal argument, is that administrators had a duty to protect not only their students but their employees in a school building. And they were really making that their entire argument for this gross negligence case. And that's what the jury was asked to essentially find in this, and find they did for $10 million, still a quarter of that. But I would say that was the bedrock of this the entire time, and that's exactly what they came out here just a few minutes ago to say, that the money was not necessarily the biggest question in this. They wanted to find Dr. Parker liable to send a message, not just here at Hampton Roads, but across the entire nation, as this is a case that has gripped the nation from the beginning, as a 6-year-old child brought a gun to school, and that the numerous warnings that were given to administrators that day.
And, lastly for me, there was a lot of talk about this wasn't just a trial, this was a chance for Abby Zwerner to share her story, a chance for her to tell her side. We know that there will be post-trial motions, but from your perspective, having covered this so closely, is this the end of a very specific chapter in this story?
Honestly, Connor, I would say it's not the end, not by a long shot. This family is gearing up to be back in this courtroom in just over a week, maybe 2, because you have to remember there is the criminal case with Dr. Ebony Parker. Yes, she has been found liable for this, but now she faces 8 counts for the children, for every bullet that was in that gun, and that loaded gun in that classroom. And so this family, I think they're breathing a sigh of relief today, but they'll be right back here again, as that will be also a historical trial right there. If Dr. Ebony Parker is found guilty in that case, because it's criminal, it will be the first time a school administrator is found partially criminally responsible for a school shooting, and that will be quite a statement across this country. So to answer your question, no, this is not the end.
So more to come with this story, more to come from Emily Harrison today, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on 13 News Now. Emily, we know how much work you have to do. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us here on Live Impact News. We always appreciate it.